Football starts to this, folks. One game to rule it all. One game to define East Lancashire. Will it be Blackburn? Will it be Burnley? We'll talk about that more next. That's right, folks, back once again with another match preview. Looking forward to Blackburn Rovers taking on Burnley. That's right, East Lancashire derby. It doesn't get much bigger than this. That's right, we're looking forward to it. Are you? Let me know down below. Of course, your one-stop shop for Blackburn Rovers, World Football, Championship Football, right here under one Roverseas. Of course, Rovers hoping to get yet another point or more against Burnley this coming weekend. Can we do it? We'll take a little look in just a second. Big shout out to the members, you know who you are, and a big shout out to the patrons, you know who you are. It is a big one, of course, guys. One that could set us up for the rest of the season, and one, of course, that could really dampen the spirits around Ewood Park. But can we get over the line? Let's jump in the deep end then, shall we? Of course, looking forward to this game coming at you early doors Saturday. That's right. It is Blackburn Rovers taking on the Freaks down the road at Ewood Park. Let's take a look under the microscope then, shall we? Of course, over the last, 25 years, there's been 16 of these. 5 wins for Rovers, just 5 wins for Rovers, 6 wins for Burnley. There's been 5 draws between the two sides. Rovers coming into this not in the best bit of form right now, without a win in the last 4. That's 50% form. Currently sits 7th for the table, 39 points for the season. Against Burnley, of course, who are second, 75% form for them, but back-to-back draws coming at you. They do have a 3-0 win on their record. They have scored 17 goals against us in those last 16, averaging 1.06 goals a game, compared to Rovers, who do have a 5-0 on our record against them, scoring 18 goals in those 16 games, 1.13 goals a game on average. Now, there is a lot of good news and a lot of bad news floating around about this game, and we're going to go over those little chunks of data as we get through them, of course. So starting with a quick recap, though, of the last 6, both home and away. It's not great for Rovers at all. 0 wins. Of course, just that 1 draw, which was last time around at Turdmore. A massive point in the end, considering the circumstances. We were trailing in that game. We came back with a wonder goal from Andrew Wyman, but McTagay, crazy incident there, which saw him saw red, which really put our backs up against the wall. I think it kind of defined our teamwork, our togetherness by coming out of that game with a point, massive point in the end. But to the clock back even further, though, Rovers had failed to score against Burnley in the previous 5, so a big mantle to kind of change on that one. Take a look at the last 6 at Ewood. It's a little bit better, but realistically, it's still not that good. We've lost the last 4 against them. I haven't scored a goal against them in the last 3. If we can change some of that, that'd be absolutely fantastic. But it is going to be a very, very difficult match, regardless of how we take a look at these sides, because form does go out the window. Everything goes out the window with this derby. You could be 6 wins on the bounce. You could be 20 wins on the bounce. When it comes into a derby scenario, all that is out the window. But hopefully Rovers can step up to the mantle and try and get something out of this game. Take a look at the last 10 then, and it is very grim stuff. Not a win in sight for Rovers. A couple of draws to highlight some good points, but realistically, we are desperate for a win to change over the tide. If you want to break the record books out even further, it doesn't even get better than that, really. Over the last 82, they have 1 more win than we do. Goodness gracious me. We have scored more goals, but that's nothing compared to the wins. We need the wins to start going back in the other way. But at the moment, it's not been good for Rovers in this match. Look at the squads, though. This is where you got to put the have a bit of realism here, guys. We are a squad that's Burnley have a squad that's significantly bigger than ours, 3/4 the size in value, an average of 5.62 million euros a player compared to our 1.83 million euros a player. 179 million their squad is worth compared to our one of 47.6. Their squad is much younger than ours. They have more national team players, more youth national team players, and more foreigners than we do. That's right. But does that mean we're out this game? No. Of course, if you look back at the Leeds one, we got again similar scenario. Even the game against Hull, they had a significantly increased valuation on their squad. Let's take a look at the coaches then under the microscope. Both similar ages. In fact, Eustace is 1 year senior to that of Scott Parker. And they have very similar points per match ratios, 1.51 for Scott Parker, 1.50 for John Eustace. His record against Burnley, though, is not the greatest. He has not got a win against Burnley just yet, 0.6 points per match, but he's only lost the once out of the previous 3. His record against Scott Parker is also 50-50, drawing that earlier game in the season at Turf Moor. The same can be said for Scotty Parker, but he does have a much better record against Rovers than we'd like to believe. To be fair, they've won. He has won as a manager 3 wins, 1 draw, and 1 loss, averaging 2 points per match coming at you in this one. Meanwhile, moving forward, taking a look at the best players under the microscope, it's Tyree Stone versus James Trafford. The goalkeeper's getting a lot of interest right now from the likes of Newcastle and some other clubs in the Premier League. Will he make the switch? I don't know. He will be involved in this game, of course. Any transfers involving him or Dolan will probably be concluded towards the back end of this month. But to be honest with you, both will be involved in this match. Let's take a look at the squads then. This is for any Burnley freaks out there looking at the squad. We have the likes of Ainsley Pears between the 6. Blasitoff is waiting. And don't get me wrong, his debut will probably come next weekend when we take on Middlesbrough in the FA Cup. Meanwhile, it's going to be as you were at the back there, Danny Bath, Dom Hyam, with, of course, Owen Beck and Callum Britton at the back 4, you would imagine. McFadden, of course, on the touchlines, screaming and barking orders. Into midfield, that was where it gets a little bit confusing. We do not have Cantwell, or Cantwell is 50-50, or maybe even iffy. He might make the bench for this game, but I don't think he will start. No Lewis Travis, of course, and the likes of Arne Sigurdsson. Big question marks of whether he's to be involved. So it's going to be a bit of a shuffle packet in midfield, which is a bit concerning. Up top is also a little bit concerning. No Yuki Yohashi. He is out. So do we start Mac Gay? Do we start Harry Leonard? Do we do something a little bit different? Well, of course, this is what I've gone with my lineup here. Pairs between the 6. Owen Beck, Danny Bart, Dom Hyam, Callum Britton picks itself. Tronstad alongside Baker. Then I've gone for a midfield or a supporting trio of Koza Dewberry, Dolan and Hedges with Wyman up top. I'd interchange Wyman and Dolan. They could maybe flip-flop, but I think that is probably the best line. I know Mac Gay is a player and of a bit of a Marmite player at the moment. You know, I think he's well loved by the fans, but his performances are, you know, I think he's definitely he has an influence on this game, but I'm just coming at you with my perspective of I think he can change the game in the last 25 minutes. If we need a goal, get him on. I think if we start with him, we could be. It can be a bit of a liability sometimes with some rash challenges and stuff like that. So I don't want to go in this and handicap us early doors. I'd like to use him as the final 20 minutes. We'll take off Wyman, who's an experienced pro at this level. He scored last time around, and I do think he needs to be involved in the game in some capacity. But my big bet, McTagay will have a part to play in this game. Considering we have no Yuki, I kind of want to be a little bit cautious on our assets right now because lose Yuki as well. I mean, you lose McTagay with a red card or an injury, then of course we're going to be completely stretched for the rest of the season. That's just my take. What about the opposition then? This is their squad, and it is a squad blessed with quality. You've got Trafford, you've got Etienne Green, who's a quality keeper, doesn't even get a look in here. Hadaki as well, another great keeper, of course, formerly of Ipswich Town. Into the defensive ranks, Connor Roberts is going to be a handful. Joe Worrell, not sure where he has been. Egan Riley's been starting alongside Esteve. Breyer's getting back. Lucas Perez as well. Some good quality players in there that just can't get a look in for whatever reason. Into midfield, there will be no Hannibal Meldbury. He's got suspended. It's that stupid incident last time around Cullen as well. Masongo's in there. Aaron Ramsey. Some quality players, again, injured and trying to get through to the squad. And then up top, they got Sarmiento, Foster, they got Jay Rodriguez. And, of course, breaking news last night. I was actually in bed when I found out Ashley Barnes has returned. So throw that little hand grenade into the mix. It's a signing that's going to cause some, reverberations for this match. He is notorious in this derby, but is he a little bit too old? Well, that's the question that I'm thinking. Is he a bit past his prime on this? They're making it out like a big old signing. I don't think it is a big old signing. I think it's a sort of clutch signing, just kind of like just grabbing a headline maker, somebody that could it can ruffle some feathers. And yeah, don't get me wrong, it's going to have a bearing of this match. But I'm not as intimidated as I once was. It's just, it was a shock signing, to be fair. I didn't see it coming. You know, am I stunned? Am I affected? No, not really. I think he's just going to be a sub at best. You know, it's just been it's quite interesting that they made that call. This is my lineup for Burnley. Got Trafford between six: Roberts, Egan Riley, Esteve, Lucas Perez, Cullen, Brownhill, Coliosho, Sedimento, and Anthony, and with Jay Rodriguez up front. Of course, no Lyle Foster as well. Let's take a look at the players under the microscope. Of course, top 10 for each side. Ashley Pears, Ainsley Pears is your main man. So he's in my fucking brain. Look, he's in my bloody brain. Ainsley Pears up there with 7.14. He's our best man on paper. Danny Bartes alongside him. Todd Cantwell, Sondre Transaden, and Beck make the top 5. As for Burnley, Connor Roberts is the main man. Is CJ Egan Riley has been fantastic at the back for them. Josh Brownhill, Jane Anthony also causing some problems. Lucas Perez at left back. Into the goals and assists, Big Mac McDegay is the main man. When of course you combine his goals and his assist tallies together, that's Yuki Hashi, Tyree Stolen, Wyman, and then JRC. As for Burnley, Brownhill was the main man there. Jane Anthony as well, alongside him. Cian Fleming, Connor Roberts, and Jerry San Martino. Take a look at the players then under the microscope, or the squad itself. Rovers ranking still 7th in the top 20 in the 24 teams in the division, compared to Burnley's 5th place. Just a 0.4 percentage go in favour of Burnley here. We average 6.93 on average compared to their 6.97. They have played a game more than us. They've scored just 2 goals more than us as well, but they've conceded considerably less. They definitely have a very solid back line. They're averaging 1.2 goals a game, as are we. We've hit the woodwork 5 times. They've hit the woodwork 7 times. We have an average of 46.7% possession compared to 56.1 from Burnley. Of course, clean sheets 10 to their 16. As for red cards, they've had 2. We've had 2. Of course, aerial duels is better than for us in the 50.8 compared to the 47.4. But what does all that mean? Well, we'll have a closer look at all that in just a second. In fact, let's take a look at it right here, right now then, shall we? Because Rovers, when in possession, they prefer the right-hand side to the left, averaging 32% of possession within the defensive ranks. As for Burnley, they prefer the right to the left also, but more often than not, they're found in the attacking third than they are in the defensive third. When, of course, taking a shot, Rovers prefer the right to the left again and averaging 15% of their shots within the 6-yard area. As for Burnley, they prefer to shoot from the left-hand side to the right and just 5% in the 6-yard area, working their shots from outside the box. As for Rovers, when in defensive stature, they are, of course, more often than not getting shots from the left-hand side, and 35% are long-range cookies, making defences work harder or go long for shots. As for Burnley, 90% of their shots are coming down the left-hand side and 10% are in that 6-yard area. As for the goals conceded, Rovers scored 18 through open play, 5 set pieces, 3 counter-attacks, 1 penalty and 1 OG. As for Burnley, similar sort of stats up top, 5 from open play, 18 from open play, 5 set pieces, 3 counter-attacks, 3 penalties, 1 OG. The goals conceded by Burnley, 6 through open play, 3 set pieces. Rovers conceding 14 through open play, 5 set pieces and 3 penalties. That's right. Let's take a look then at the games or the form book coming into this one. Rovers on the back of a couple of draws, couple of losses. It's not great. They've all been fine margins realistically, so not great form on paper. But when you look at the results and who we were playing against, Sunderland compete for top 2, Leeds compete for top 2. Of course, Hull are on a bit of a new bounce. Millwall also on a new manager bounce right now. This is definitely I wouldn't say the last of the difficult games, but it is. If we can get something out of this game, I think it's a great testament for Rovers is mentals, and we've navigated through a real bad patch. The only question for me, or concern for me, is can we get points against the teams that we should be getting points against? No disrespect to the Portsmouths, the Oxfords, the Bristol Cities of the world. We should be getting points from those guys if we're going to maintain this top 6 dream, which we're currently outside of. So yeah, after that game, of course, after the game this weekend, we take on Middlesbrough in the Cup. Chance to rotate the squad a little bit, both early kickoffs in that game. Then it's Portsmouth, the rearranged the game at Ewood Park. Then it's a trip to Oxford, who are on a right uptick form right now, Coventry, and then Bristol City. So winnable games, or at least games that we should get some points out of in some capacity, but we'll see. What about Burnley then? Of course, coming into this on the back of that 0-0 draw against Burnley. In fact, back-to-back 0-0 draws, away to Middlesbrough and of course home to Stoke. They haven't conceded a goal in the last 3. Coming out of this, they'll take on Reading at the Majeski, which of course should be one-sided traffic on that, what you'd imagine. Then it's a tricky one against Sunderland. Then against Plymouth Argyle, we'll probably have a new manager. Then it's Leeds. then Portsmouth, and then Oxford. So they've also got a sticky old patch coming at you right here, right now, to define their season. Let's take a look then at the form of both sides coming into this one. Rovers have just lost once in the last 4 at Ewood, but Burnley on the alternative side there on the away end, coming into this unbeaten in the last 6 on the road. Very, very good record at the moment, and might not be getting the headlines, might not be causing such a stir, but they're definitely getting the points done. Conceding just the one goal conceded in the last 6. So there's going to be a bit of a mountain to climb, I can imagine. What can we expect from this game? Well then, shall we? Let's take a look at it. Rovers' strengths, counter-attacks, attacking down the wings, aerial duels, protecting the lead and stealing the ball from the opposition. Their weaknesses, though, our weaknesses, avoiding offside, avoiding fouling in dangerous areas. Playing in our own half, we have a consistent first 11 and we can be quite aggressive. Burnley's strengths, though, protecting the lead, attacking down the wings, creating chances through balls and defending set pieces. Their weaknesses, though, are aerial duels. Their style of play is long shots, short passes coming down the right, possession football, playing the offside trap and being very aggressive as well. The forecast says Rovers will stray offside often, but will dominate the air. There will be a high number of cards shown, but Burnley will dominate possession. That's what we can expect from all that data chucking at you. Now, the table looks like this. Of course, Rovers are now outside of the playoffs, courtesy of Middlesbrough's late goal against Hull to put them in the top 6. We do have a game in hand on all of those above, so hopefully it's only a matter of time that we can get back into that top 6. Meanwhile, we could be as low as 9th if everything goes against us this weekend. Burnley could be, they could technically be top, but they need a win. A bit of a goal swing themselves. And also Burnley could be as low as 4th if everything goes against them as well. So that's the journeys thus far, though. Burnley represented by the blue. I don't know why. And Rovers represented by the green in this graph here. Not too much separates the two sides realistically on the table. Of course, there is a bit of a points gap between themselves and ours. What else is going around the grounds this championship weekend then, shall we? All eyes will be at Ewood Park on the early kickoff. There are a couple other games going on at the same time. Swansea against West Brom, Stoke against Plymouth Argyle. Then the 3 o'clock kickoffs, it'll be Watford, Sheffield United, Sheffield Wednesday against Millwall, Bristol City against Derby, Hull against Leeds, Norwich against Coventry, we have Preston against Oxford, Middlesbrough against Cardiff, and then into Sunday we have Sunderland against Portsmouth, and then Monday has QPR against Luton, and then of course focus switches to the FA Cup. This is the rankings of the goal scorers at the moment. Boria Sainz is still your main man with 15 goals this campaign. Josh Major alongside him with 12. Josh Windass with 10. Look at him flying high. And then the chasing pack. We do have a Burnley player in there into number 10 spot. Brownhill has 9 goals. As for the assists, McDegay is your main man there with 6 thus far in the season. But what about me then? What is my take on this game? Well, it's going to be a difficult one. It's very much a lot riding on this one. Local bragging rights, of course. Earlier in the season, we did in the draw with a 1-1. Despite Rovers having to fight back into that game. What I have been impressed with Rovers of late has been that desire to get back into games, but hopefully this is not going to be one of those, because we did come back against Sunderland at Ewood, we did come back against Leeds at Ellen Road to get something out of it. We are desperate for a win against this lot, just to kind of give us a little bit of a late Christmas present, a fantastic start to the new year. A win would be absolutely monumental. However, Burnley are very much in the title race at the moment. They're playing good football in regards to solid at the back. They've hardly conceded goals these days. So it's going to be difficult to see Rovers breaking the deadlock against this team. So it could be as boring as a 0-0. And if you offered me that right now, I don't know if I would take it. A point or nothing. Do we go for it? Do we just go for kitchen sink it and try and get a 1-0 win? Yes, that could be on definitely an option for Rovers. I just think that this will end up all square. I am not going for the 0-0. I'm going to go for a 1-1. It's going to be feisty, of course. It always is. We might even see a red card in this game. And I just hope Rovers have got their heads switched on, and maybe it will be Burnley getting on the wrong side of a stupid tackle or something, and then they're of course having to play the last 10-15 minutes against Rovers with 10 men, and then hopefully we can find a kink in their armour and take all 3 points. So I'm going with a point. It's a bit of a cop out, to be fair. You know what I mean? If you take the emblem away and represent it with a Sheffield United who on the same form haven't conceded a goal in this, you would take a point right now. You would take a point. So I'm trying to take my heart out of the equation. Of course, I'd love to win, and I would do absolutely bonkers shit if we were to win. But I just think They're playing that good. They're playing very tight, not giving much away. We're limited up top. No Todd Cantwell. Yuki's out. Goals are going to be, I don't know where the goals are coming from. It's a major concern. So, hopefully we get a set piece or we get a penalty or something that will give us the opportunity to find the goals. If we can get an early goal, then who knows? But realistically, I think it's going to be a 1-1er. Anyway, that's it, guys. Of course, we hope to have some more coverage of this. We should have a vlog. We'll have the watch along. And of course, we'll have the reactions as well from the fans after the game. Hopefully, we're all singing and dancing. But until then, subscribe, smash the like. Catch you later. Until then, we are done.